Gavin Newsom just dropped another episode on his famous podcast, and this time he had Ryan Murphy, the creator of the series Monsters, Nip Tuck, and American Crime Story, and more. Ryan Murphy says that he regrets depicting Eric and Lyle Menendez as cold-blooded killers, especially because we now have evidence of domestic violence, sexual assault, trauma, and isolation. So my take on this is that when a guy like Ryan Murphy goes on a public forum podcast with the sitting governor of California and admits that he has completely flipped on his stance of Eric and Lyle Menendez, I believe that this is not just a conversation. This is actual PR rehab. As far as Gavin Newsom having Ryan Murphy and whether this is appropriate or not, because he's involved with the clemency process, I don't feel like it's unprofessional because Gavin Newsom's already talked about this case at length on other podcasts and in different news situations. He's always pushed back against Nathan Hochman. It's a very public case, just like Sirhan. So I just feel like more than anything, it's helping true crime in a pop culture space. And I think the conversation needs to be had by a sitting governor because they can't ignore that these unjust things go on in our system. I believe that because the original trial was such a media spectacle, that it did so much damage to this case. And these two guys have suffered for 35 years over it. And so I feel like it's a very powerful move for Gavin Newsom to have Ryan Murphy on his podcast, because if we're going to undo the damage that we did in the media and publicly around this case, this is a good start with a powerful voice like Gavin Newsom, the sitting governor of California, whether he's involved with the clemency or not. I think this was a very strong move. So, in short, I fully support this podcast episode. I think that having this conversation publicly makes people rethink all the things that they thought they knew. And having a conversation where people are flipping their stance on controversial topics is something that we need to do in this country. And I feel that it is only fair to Eric and Lyle Menendez that we have these conversations publicly where huge voices that have a huge platform, Ryan Murphy and Gavin Newsom, admit that they were wrong. Tell me what you guys think. I don't want to push anybody's buttons, but I'd love to have a good conversation about this.